everybody. I'm the Pigglesworth. Welcome back to Decidedly Vanilla. Yeah, buddy. Yeah, buddy. Yeah, buddy. Check this out. If you don't know what's going on, if you have no idea where this came from, I advise you go back and watch previous episodes so you can see where in the world this giant megadome came from. Loving this. This is looking so cool. This is really starting to define the scope and size of this base, and it's really finally starting to give it some color, a little bit of interest, because up until now it's been kind of bland, to be honest. Grays, a little bit of browns, brown over there, maybe a hint of color at those little areas and right in there. But other than that, nothing really. But now we've got color. Now it's starting to pop. Pop, pop, I tell you. I've been over at the witch farm for a little bit, gathered up some glowstone. I figured if I'm over there, I'm going to grab some stuff that I need. Just double checking the area that Mr. Silent Whisperer and I had worked on. That was the last 2 episodes before the previous one was us doing that. Now, I'm kind of discombobulated here because the last episode you saw, I filmed and finished, and then I released the 2 episodes that myself and Silent Whisperer have been working on before that. So I'm kind of all mixed up in my head as far as continuity is concerned. So ignore me or forgive me. Forgive me, please. Forgive me if I suddenly get like a little wonky weird explaining something. Maybe I forgot I explained it. That kind of happens. Sometimes I reboot and I forget. But we can see that a lot more clearing has been done down here in the desert. We're finally getting this area starting to open up. We can see where the exterior wall is going to go right there. And I need to dig outwards a little bit. I wanted to give myself like some safe zone. This is not going to be an exact 45-degree angle over there, but I went ahead and made this a 45-degree for right now, just so I could kind of define where it needed to be. Now, once I start building the outer edge of the wall through here, that's where I can go ahead and start like defining where the actual underground will be. But yeah, we're starting to see a big, nice open area. I thought I heard a bad guy, but he must be underground. It's all good. We're going to go over here for a second. I'm going to show you what I've been collecting so that we can kind of get our bearings and kind of understand what it is we're going to start doing with this episode. And I do need to show you something up there real quick. So I have been off and on off camera for a while gathering up a bunch of wool. Now I'm starting to get a fairly decent amount of green wool going, but I feel like I'm going to need to switch. I need to get some sheep down here that are lime green. Honestly, I need to get like more sheep, and I need to get a proper sheep farm going. Now, I'm kind of struggling back and forth with the idea. Do I want the sheep farm underground? And do I want a structure up above where basically all the wool would go to and get sorted? And so, because remember, we've got like an underlying theme or philosophy to this build. And so to keep that reality, for it to make sense, we have to stick with that theme. So the theme is that this is what they call I think it's what it's been called, a beautiful dystopia. So a dystopia is a society that is super oppressive, that has people under lock and key and control. You think you have a free life, but you really don't. You're completely controlled, which is why this is going to be a walled-in city with no way to escape, no way to get out. But it's a beautiful dystopia because we're trying to make everything look really nice. Usually dystopians, like the worlds are all falling apart and they're run down. We want this to have the sense of a utopia, but it's really a dystopia. I hope that makes some sense. So, do we want it to have this feel where anything that's actual work, like gathering wool would take work, you know what I mean? We would have to actually shear the sheep. In reality, you would feed the sheep. You would have areas for them. They're noisy and whatnot. And so it might make sense if we build like an area for all of the sheep under the city, the deep, dark underbelly of the city, where all the real work actually, as Deckcraft would say, where the real work gets done. And then, for the residents of the city, for them, they have no idea where wool comes from. They think you just go to this building and that's where wool comes from. They're clueless. It also means that they're helpless, because if they were to ever leave the city, they would have no idea how to get wool on their own. So I think that's what I'll try and do is I need to kind of decide what each of these sectors is going to be in theme, and then figure out where would be the best place to move the sheep farm. So for now, I think we're just going to have like these silly little pins so that I can get the colors I need. And then once I kind of get an idea of what I want to do and lock it down, then we're going to go ahead and move these guys around. But I'm going to show you over here what I've done real quick with the little fish areas. I went ahead and finished them off, gave them a back, so now they have a little bit more structure. It looks like a little frog face to me. It really does. But I figured, you know, just something simple, something that would kind of tie in the sandstone and all that. Now, right now, it doesn't pop, and it looks a little dull and dreary because we can see for miles that color. But what we're going to work on today is going to finally seal up this courtyard so that when you come in here, you have no earthly idea what in the world is underneath the city. Because, I mean, look, if you step down right here, imagine you can't see through these holes. Even looking out those gates, you cannot see the desert. And then once you're down here, all you really will be able to see is sky and whatever I build beyond that. So we're basically going to obliterate the line of sight that your eyes would see through these holes. We're going to fill in these holes. That's my long way of saying we're going to fill in these holes. I'm going to decorate it. Now I'm going to show you the idea of what I want to try and do. So going with the idea of the dystopia. Let's see here. Let's get some of this. And I know I have some grass blocks over here. So I have a practical goal, and then I have a thematic goal that I need to stick with. So the practical goal is the city has to be spawn proof. We can't have any creepers showing up because they will blow up stuff and destroy it. And I don't want any other bad guys. I think the only other bad guys that can show up that I can't control are going to be Endermen. You just can't really stop them from whooping into wherever you're at unless you make everything 2 blocks tall. Or 2.5 blocks tall, kind of like over at the Ender where it's set up so that, you know, you bang your head on the ceiling, but no Enderman can get to you. Well, I don't think that I could build a 2.5 tall dome and it would look like this. So Endermen are going to be a thing that we're going to have to deal with. But the idea is to make things spawn proof, but I also want it to have that beautiful dystopia feel. So everything's got a bit of fakeness to it, if that makes sense. So I also started noticing that because we're working in a desert biome, see the green in my hand, the grass block in my hand, it's a nice green. But then when we place it down, the biome overwrites that texture and we get this more dull, drab looking green. I needed to fix that. I wanted this to have a little bit of eye pop. So see, that fixes it. And what's really cool is, from afar, it kind of looks like the way a grass block should look. And so we actually get like a two-toned grass effect going on. And I like that. I think that works. So what I need to experiment with, let's see here. No, I don't have it. That's why. Like, where in the world did this go? Let's see here. Let's get some regular dirt blocks. Is the above or the below? That one's dirt. Okay, we'll do that. We got dirt. Yes, we do. So I can't remember if I'm getting connected textures on this from Optifine with grass. So what I want to do is, let's do that. I'm not seeing connected textures. If you know what I'm talking about, like if you've watched my SevTech series, you'll see it, where you get, if the block is grass and the block next to it is grass, then the whole surface becomes grass. But let's do this. We'll do a split level effect just so you can see what I'm talking about. So see, it's spawn proof. It kind of feels like AstroTurf the way it looks, like fake grass, but you also get the side texture for grass, which is really, really cool. So that's what I want to do. I want to use this effect so that we can get grass everywhere, but it's also spawn proof. So that's the plan, Stan. That's what we're going to try and do. And then we're also going to do a little trick with trees and stuff, where we need to make them look fake but real as well. So I'm going to try my hand at some customized trees and whatnot. But this is going to be a bit of a challenge, because what I've got to do is I've got to come up with a way to make all of this area look like natural dirt slopes and hills and all that kind of stuff, and natural vegetation and whatnot. Make it all look interesting, and at the same time, it can't be so overgrown or gigantic that it like obscures your eyes from being able to see the dome. It's nighttime. Let's go up and look at the dome. I love the cool lighting effect. Whoop. So cool. And I just love it because once we really get this stuff starting to get built up and everything, if it's night, you can come through here, you're safe. If it's day, you can come through here, you're safe. And we just get to like enjoy the different feels that you get from like the lighting and whatnot. Yeah. I don't know if you can tell. I'm very excited. I'm very proud about this build. I'm just loving it. But see, up in these openings, see how it's ugly and we've got these openings? So those are actually important. Those are by design very important. What we're going to need to be able to do is wherever we're standing, whatever goes here, it can't be so built up and overgrown that it completely obstructs the eye being able to see these little bands right through here, because those are going to be important. Those are actually going to mean something. So I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to start experimenting with one little wedge piece, one little spot right in here. I don't know if I want to do it right over the sheep, because I might fall in on them and bonk them on the head, but I might do that. But I'm going to work on it. I'm going to try and see if I can work one out and bring you back so you can see what it looks like, kind of get an idea for the vision of what I've got going with this, and then I'm going to see if I can go and get this finished so we can have a finished vegetative state of a courtyard. I don't know if that's the right way to say that. That implies like people that have been harmed terribly or something. A very, very nice garden for our courtyard. There we go. That's the way I'm going to say that. So I'm going to get to working a little bit in the background, do a little bit of stuff. I'm going to bring you back and see what we can see, how this stuff is going to start to turn out. All right, everybody. I have built a garden, a single garden. Yep, took me like half an hour to do it, kind of fiddled around with it. I think I'm happy with how it's turning out. But I must say, it's going to be way more work than I thought it would be. Did you catch a glimpse of it? I bet you did. There we go. We'll do the quick reveal this time. So I like that. I really like how that's turning out. We've got a nice little water feature. I've got some path block areas, which gives a different color and look. And mobs can't spawn there. Mobs can't spawn on the carpets. And wherever you see grass and plants, they can't spawn there as well. And then we got these little bitty faux trees, these fake trees, F-A-U-X. These fox trees, that's what they are. And I'm just kind of running around looking at different angles to see how this looks. Now the problem is that I'm trying to look at this like in a vacuum. You're going to see this in context with other variations of gardens around here. So it will, it'll be a piece of mini gardens, not M-I-N-I, not small gardens. Although these are kind of small gardens, aren't they? But I want all the gardens to have a similar feel, but at the same time, I want each garden to have just something slightly different going on in them. So, like maybe this one has a water feature, maybe that one won't. Something like that. Maybe this one has little stunted trees and that one won't. Just something so it's a little bit different. So that way, as we walk around the city, the gardens themselves, you'll start to get familiarized with where things are. Like right now, when I come out to the city, when I see that, I know that that's where that zombie spawner is that I found. And so when I see the zombie spawner, I know that direction is towards where I'm going to build my first wall, because the vine farm's right there. I get those bearings. That also tells me immediately that way is a big ocean. And over there is the remnants of a desert village. I'll walk over here so you can see what I'm talking about. Right over there. So see, I can get my bearings pretty quick when I step out here just by seeing that zombie spawner. So it's going to take a little bit of work to rewire my brain, but as I come through here, I'm going to see this and be like, oh, right here, that means the vine farm's over in that direction. That's going to how I'm going to get my bearings. Now, like I said, up in there as well, there's going to be something else that's going to tell us. But what I really like is that there's, like, let me see if I can explain it. So look right here. From where I'm standing, there's nothing between me and this canvas. Pretend like this is like a painting. That's a canvas. There's nothing there. So there's a little bit of understanding of depth and distance, but that's about it. But when we look here, we get layers. We get this giant structure. It's a little mundane and monotonous in the coloring, but then we get another layer a little bit closer, and it's got its own layers. It's got a farther tree and a closer tree. We're getting a little bit of blue from the water. So it's adding depth. It's adding interest, things that your eyes want to look at, but at the same time, it's not like overly messy and complicated because there are large, solid colors that are kind of like the backdrop. So it almost makes this pop even more, if that makes sense. That's how I'm justifying all this, yeah. Now, I didn't plan it that way, but as I'm looking at it, I'm just kind of explaining. That's why I think the levels are working the way they are, and I just, oh, this is great. I'm loving this. And the other thing is that I have hidden lights underneath these carpets. So when it gets dark here, this is going to have its own little bit. It's not going to be perfectly bright. There will be dark spots and stuff, but it's going to have its own cool little moody lighting effect like how these pieces up here have. Now here's something else that I also started doing. I realized as I start building up this area, I can no longer throw ender pearls and get down below. I mean, I could throw an ender pearl here, but that pond is about as deep as I can get. I can't get underneath the city. And so I've been kicking around some different ideas. I wanted to put like manholes in the ground, but the problem is that these are first level half slabs. And so if I put a trapdoor, let's see, let's if I can, there it goes. Yeah, it was a little bit of a lag spike there for a second because I'm changing the lighting down there. So if I put this here, see how it's there? So we've got like a manhole, but it's also a recess. It's a little bump. And I just think that visually, like the road looks nice and smooth, and then we get this, and it just messes with your eyes. Now, if I had mixed and matched road pieces with like stairs and different stuff like that and made it look really weird and uneven, that might work. But in this road, it doesn't. So I've done this. See how those are burgundy colored blocks? I've swapped it for these. We've got these doors. When you see it, it's kind of like, oh, they're doors. But when you're not paying attention to it, I think it works. I think it works because when we come back here, you see that and it kind of ties in with that brown. And I'm hoping that works because I tried a few different things, and this is about the closest I could get to let me do what I'm going to want to do. So we just open this door, close this door. Nobody in the city knows any better. And we've got ladders. We've got ways to get up and down to the bottom of the city. See? Uh-oh. This is the other thing I've got to do is now that I've planted a bunch of plants, I need to go through with my camera account and look and see where are we going to see daylight. And I've basically been having to, let's see, like right about here, that'll work. And yeah, we'll use grass blocks, no big deal. I've got a silk touch shovel that I can repair, so we'll just fix it when we need to. But see, you just kind of plug up these holes, and then that way when we're on the other side, especially like at night, you can see these lights peeking through those little spots. I'm going to have to go through and fix that. But everywhere you see a glowstone block, there's a piece of carpet over it, but that glowstone block is actually lighting up this area. So that's pretty cool. Really loving this. This project's turning out really well. At least I think so. Maybe you don't think so. If you don't think so, or you do think so, put your comments in the comment section down below. Let me know what maybe I could add to do something a little bit different, or maybe what you think does and doesn't work. Is there something about this that you're looking at and you're like, yeah, I don't know about that, Piggy. Maybe try this. But I don't know what this is because you got to tell me what this is. So now what I need to do, you know what I need to do next. Other than that, pay no attention to that. I got to do this for the rest of the city. That's right. In this episode, I'm going to just go ahead and see if we can seal all of these up and get all of our little ideas and stuff down. So it's going to be an episode that's just a few minutes longer, because usually about this time I would be wrapping up, making them about 20 minutes long each. But I think we deserve it. I think I deserve it. I don't know if I deserve it. It doesn't matter if I deserve it. There we go. Whether I do or not, I want to get some more of this courtyard done. I want to get this city underway, because the bigger this city gets, the more I realize that I need to get on the ball, or I'm going to end up with a server reset and half the city not finished. And we can't have that. No siree. So I'm going to get back to working on these different areas in these courtyards, get all these gardens finished up, and then I'm going to bring you back and show you, hopefully, what will be a very, very nice resulting garden. Boy, oh boy, I tell you what, this thing looks more and more like a spaceship all the time, doesn't it? Like a crazy, crazy, weird spaceship. Got the dome up top, got the dirt down below, so it makes it look like a bottom to it, and now we've got these things. Yeah, once I sealed everything up, I realized there is no way I'm going to be able to just like run all the way out here and ender pearl constantly. It's going to get really, really old. So I went ahead and went all the way around. It's all the way around there. I've got 2 spots over there. I've still got to clear out just all the stuff underneath to be able to make it. But it kind of looks like supports, but at the same time, if it was a spaceship, it looks like giant landing legs or something. But I figured I would put crafting benches at the bottom of each of them, because it helps to have access to quick crafting benches. And then I just came up with a simple little design for keeping these lit, but also keeping, safety rails so Piggy doesn't fall off. And here we go. We're done. We have finished all of the gardens. Yes, we have. Not Olive Gardens. That's a restaurant. I haven't figured Olive Gardens, although building Olive Gardens would be cool. Now I'm just going to kind of make my way around here so we can see it. And like I said, I wanted to try and challenge myself and see if I could come up with different kind of landscape designs for each one with just a slightly different theme. So right here we've got where we're using basically oak for the trunk of the trees, and just little trees and some beets and wheat and carrots growing there. And then we come over here, and the trees are a slightly different shape. They're more elongated, and they're using birch. Now, you let me know what you think. Put comments down in the comment section below if you would be so kind as to do so. What do you think between... I like the birch, okay? The birch works really good. I think I want to keep that. But I'm thinking that the oak and the birch are too similar. So these 2 gardens look very similar. Now, this one has water, so that's a little different. And it has beets, and that one doesn't, so that's a little different. But the trees, they're not too different. Like, you could almost argue that this elongated one's starting to look a little bit like that one. So it doesn't look too different. Maybe should we do a darker trunk? That might be the way to go. But y'all let me know what you think down below. Should we do maybe just a darker wood? Maybe do, since we're doing dark oak here, maybe go with spruce, something like that. But you let me know what you think. But then we've got this farm, and then this one, I wanted to do something with cactus, because I kept racking my brain. I'm like, what's all the different plants that I have available to me that I can use? And I just accidentally threw down these blue flowers, and it works. I really like this. This is like a really cool combination, almost like a flowering desert kind of look. And then I threw in some different spots of stone and cobblestone, just so it looks like, maybe it's a little arid, a little dried out. But I really like that. I like how that turned out. That looks really cool. And then we'll run over here, and we've got this really, really cool custom tree. Like, I wanted to really push home the idea that all of the vegetation and stuff here is like fake. No leaf blocks. I mean, we can't build like these fake. So I had to use some plants. And yes, I've got some leaf blocks there now that I'm thinking about it. So we may have to swap those out for wool blocks as well. It might actually look a little better. Like, you can see how washed out and ugly looking the leaves are here because we're in a desert. So it might make sense to swap those to leaf blocks. I'll experiment with that. We might try that. But I just thought it would be really cool to try and challenge myself to make a custom tree. And I like it. I like how it turned out. Got a little bit of the double ferns going there and whatnot as well. And I didn't really put a whole lot in here because I wanted the tree to be the center of attention. But then we'll turn over here. And I was like, okay, so let's use some vines and mushrooms, and let's make ourselves like a little cave. There's just a spot with a little cave in there. Now, we can go in the cave. You know, it's a fully functioning cave. But it's all spawn-proof. Everything is spawn-proof. There was one spot where I had a creeper spawn. I'm like, what in the world is going on there? So what I decided to do was go around and check every single spot where there's a plant. I'm going to hit F3, and you can see that the light level, see where it says 12 sky, 10 block? The light level here is a 10. And the light level here is an 8. So they're all above 7. We made sure that all the spots that weren't carpet or weren't path blocks had a light level above 7, so that way we don't get any bad guys spawning in here. Because the last thing I want to happen is somebody to come visit my base and their creepers sneak up on them and blow up, and they feel bad that they blew up part of my base. I don't want that to happen. I want them to feel safe here, so we made sure to do that. And then we come over here, and we got ourselves this cool little double waterfall, and I wanted to see some taller looking weeds. Like, we finally got plants that go under the water, and that one water feature over there is just 1 block deep. So I figured we'd go 2 blocks deep with this and make it where you can see different plants and stuff. Got a little bit more wheat and stuff growing here, and then we can come up here. Oh, that was weird. Like the... Ooh, oh yeah, look at that. There's some spots I didn't plug up. That's what's going on. Okay, so I'll need to fix that later. I'll do that off camera. Y'all don't want to see all that mess. That'd be boring. But we got like a little water feature up here and just got some plants mixed and matched, some different blocks in there. And I tried this out. I thought this might be interesting. Since we can waterlog half slabs now, maybe make like an uneven shaped little area. And for some reason, these grass blocks have not turned back into dirt yet. I always thought when you put water on top of grass blocks, they're supposed to turn into dirt. Maybe I just haven't been in this area long enough. Well, did these turn into dirt? No, these stay grass as well. Okay, well, we'll go with it. If it stays grass, whatever. It can be like a bunch of algae down at the bottom or something. I mean, to be fair, looking at it like this, you really can't tell that much. But yeah, that's that. And then I was like, okay, so what do we do next? And then I thought about it. Why don't we do, you know, there's like bones and stuff you can dig up out of the ground. Every once in a while you find these like bone structures under the ground. So I'm like, why don't we make it where there's like an archaeological dig or something? Like somebody dug up a spot and they found to me it almost looks like the rib cages and the head of maybe like an old elephant or something that got buried under a mudslide or something, which we know it's city and all this is like built and structured and it doesn't make any sense, right? But don't worry about it because we're allowed to be whimsical. It's a dystopian city, yeah. And then this is the last one. I know that in 1.14 Minecraft we're going to get bamboo, but I kept thinking, you know, sugarcane looks like bamboo, and maybe I could do like some kind of little bamboo forest and then mix and match these fence posts. Since they're not anywhere near something where they can connect, like see how these are reaching out and connecting the full block so you can see their fences? All of these are set up in such a way that they don't touch anything, so they're vertical. And then I put like a darker block here and a lighter block here, so it looks like some of these, you know, quote unquote, these bamboo shoots, like they tried to grow, they ended up dying. And since this is closer to the ground, it's still got a little moisture where it dries out as it gets further up to the top. But this is cool that the sun's going down. So now you can see what this looks like with all the mood lighting. We'll ignore this spot for now. I'm just going to kind of quickly walk around and see. You can see like I've got really cool little lighting effects going on. So that when you come here at night, everything is, whoa, that was almost bad. Everything's not perfectly lit. So it's just a really cool effect. It's something I've always wanted to do in Minecraft is mess with lighting and use lighting to my advantage to make some interesting little effects. And I really like how this has turned out. I think this has turned out really, really well, if I do say so, and pat myself on the back for it. And then I got to thinking as I was building all this, like I'll come up here and show you. Just different angles and stuff are really cool to look at. This was just a big dirt hill. And I've got a bunch of browns, and now we've got some browns and green going on. And now that I've got these colors going on here, this hill started to look very drab. Now, I know we're going to put something on top of it, so that's going to kind of spice it up a little bit. But I was like, you know what? Why don't we put some cobble fences in here? We'll mix and match them with the mossy and the regular, and at different heights, so it looks kind of random. But at the same time, your brain kind of sees it like maybe it's a retaining wall or some kind of strength strengthening barrier or something that helps the dirt hill stay put. Because, you know, that's exposed. So eventually it'll rain. It should have washed it into the streets, but it doesn't. Which is all good. But that's today's project. Awesome, awesome. We got it done. We got some ways to get up here from down below, which I think look kind of snazzy. We got a whole bunch of different unique gardens, but at the same time, they all work together. They all fit together, and they fit the dystopian theme. I am just loving how this city is coming together, and from y'all's comments down below that you keep leaving, I can tell many of y'all are really enjoying this as well. So Piggy's got a green thumb. Yes, he does. He managed to get some stuff grown, which is just awesome. But I'm going to go ahead and get ready for next episode. I got a feeling that somebody's going to need to employ me for a little bit of work. I got a message from somebody in Discord saying they needed me to come over and help them out. They noticed I had some materials I was needing, and they had some materials that needed to be moved. So next episode, we're going to go meet up with somebody on the server, and we're going to go check out their base and see what's happened. And then I'm going to get to gathering up a bunch of those materials. It'll be interesting. It'll be fun. You trust old Piggy. You trust old Piggy. I'm going to try and make it where things aren't boring to watch. Try and make it where it's interesting. But if you enjoyed this episode, please click that like button. And if this is your first time watching and you're not already subscribed, I guess you wouldn't be subscribed if it's your first time watching. Hello, Piggy. Do you YouTube much, sir? Yes, I do. But yeah, if this is your first time watching and you would like to subscribe, would you go ahead and subscribe? And if you do, go ahead and click that notification bell, so YouTube will notify you whenever my videos come out. That way you can be in on the fun and see all the cool, crazy stuff that Piggy's up to. But I'm going to go ahead and get myself ready for next episode, and that's when I hope to see you is in the next episode of Decidedly Vanilla.